Hello, good afternoon. Today, let's talk about Africa Software Summit. We are on 25th May 2023. And Africa Soft Power Summit, it's a summit being held in Kigali, Selena Hotel. And with the aim of solving the African problems by the Africans. So in the meeting which I attended on this day, they talked about first climate change and the problem on the world, also Africa included. It is generally recorded and being observed that climate change is a big problem on whole continent of Africa. So among the people of Africa, most of them are depending on agriculture, and most of agriculturalists, they are using artificial cultivation, which is also traditional ones. So it is a problem for that sector of agriculture. Also, they talked about the African solving problems like the Pan-African movement. There was a meeting in 1988 held in Yamoussoukro, Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, and there it was a declaration where they say that even if it was a declaration, nowadays it is still not put in place. But why? It's like we are still living in colonialism, what other people calls neo-colonialism, or the new form of colonization. We think we need to be led by ourselves, but at the end of the day, we find ourselves in the sea of the ideas of the Europeans, the ideas of colonialists. They were talking about it. We don't have even access to control our properties. One of the guests talked about how Africans are still looking to the resources which are underground and not focusing which is up or above the ground. They are not talking about how they can use airlines transport to connect Africans. They are not talking about how they can remove visa to African countries so that you can move from Rwanda to Ethiopia, from Ethiopia to South Africa without visa. If we increase that free movement, this means that Africa themselves will be one. They talked about the United States. They are states united together. They are almost equivalent to African countries in the number. But why not African countries can come up together? They have a good population, the youth, the power of the world. It is estimated that 30% of the youth, the 30% of the youth under 30 years in the world are Africans, which means that we can do more as Africans. And also, we were with the head of RDB, who said that after being asked about the Rwandan proverb saying that uwambaye ikirezi ntamenya ko kera, they say that we have many things in us, but we don't know how to exploit them. And she said we need to make sure that what we have, what also we gain from transportation, what we gain from the tourism must come back to serve the community. If we get from tourism, then we invest in public transportation, for example. Also, they said about the creative industry, the economy of Africa. This involves filmmaking, music, involves creative drawings, which can also empower the Africa. There's all of this, the above said, are the forms of the soft power which can be used to boost the African society, even the African population. So they talked about the human capital, where the people are being lacking to these industries. Like they talked about the quality versus talents. The people do really have talents, but how do they develop them? How do they interpret their talents? How do they get them quality of their talents? It is needed so that we invest in the filmmaking. If we are talking about filmmaking, let's invest in education in filmmaking, invest in forms of art. If it is about drawing, about showing the culture of Africans, we can invest in them. We see movies, we see stories of Africa being told by the Europeans and African people. Why not Africans tell the story of Africans? So thank you.